Now, I wasn't mad at my wife and kids, but I sure as heck was ticked off from my jerk of a coworker who threw me under the bus on that particular day. I was guilty of what I like to call emotional residue. That leftover emotional energy from work that clings to you like sweat after a good workout. And that energy walks through your front door before words ever do. I'm going to share some science around this in a minute, but this is why I love what Proverbs 15:13 says. It says, a happy heart makes the face cheerful, but heartache crushes the spirit. Whether you realize it or not, what's going on in your heart, your emotions, your stress, your fatigue, it shows up on your face and in your presence. It either breathes life into your home or deflates it, which is why today's drill is so important.
This is Coming Up Clutch with JR, helping the world's best in sports, entertainment, and business make winning a lifestyle.
What's up? It's JR, and
it's time for the 5-minute drill.
I call this segment of the show the 5-minute drill because I give you a strategy that will take no longer than 5 minutes to implement. This is a proven strategy to help you come up clutch more often in at least one area of your life, leading you to more wins and positioning you to maximize your success and significance. I'm about helping you make winning a lifestyle, not a one-time thing. And speaking of lifestyle, I want to throw a tough question at you. You ever walk in the house after a long day, you barely say a word, and your spouse looks at you and says, you just seem so annoyed to be home right now. Oof. That comment stings, right? And if you're a normal human being like me, it usually is followed by some frustration or defensiveness. But here's the truth. You're not mad to be at home. You're not annoyed to see your spouse or kids. You're just mentally fried and you're emotionally drained. But here's the big problem when you're in this state of being. Your emotions are talking even if you're not. There are these hidden signals that essentially you're sending to the people around you. And these are people you love and people you care about. So by the end of this episode, I'm going to help you be able to recognize and really redirect the emotional signals that you're unconsciously sending to your family and generally the people you care about after work. So you can walk through that door with leadership, not emotional leakage, also known as coming in the door as a hot mess. And by the way, if you're a guy listening to this today, just a reminder that the application window for the Clutch Club is now open. This is my elite strategy and mentorship premium membership that's designed to help you unleash your best everywhere, not just in your career. We're talking your home, your health, your marriage, everywhere. So if you want unprecedented access to world-class mentorship and training, alongside a community of former athletes who cut through the BS and now compete as leaders, executives, and entrepreneurs. If you want to feel unstoppable on whatever field of play you're on, then strike while the iron's hot and head on over to theclutchclub.com to check it out. A lot of amazing stuff happening inside this club. My club guys, they're going deeper with strategies that we're discussing on these podcast episodes, and it's helping them show up differently, especially when it matters most. So again, I encourage you to go to theclutchclub.com and check it out. Trust me, you won't regret it. And before we get going and dig deep, if you're empowered by the show and learning something, make sure you follow us on Apple Podcasts so you don't miss out when we drop new episodes. Again, hit that purple plus on the top right-hand corner of the podcast app. And when you do that, this podcast has the chance to get in the hands of more people that need it. So help someone out today and make sure you're following the show. And speaking of helping out someone, share today's episode. Play that hero to your family, friends, and teammates by giving them the link to this or sending them to comingupclutch.com. And when you go and post about this episode on social, make sure to tag me. All right, 5-minute drill. Let's get it. This drill is born out of a moment where I almost walked into my house after a stressful day of client calls with really my energy being shot. A lot of heavy work with my private clients on this particular day. But I caught myself because I learned some hard lessons from a dark period of my life where I just typically walk into the house carrying all the baggage from that day. I remember one such day where I hadn't said a word to my wife or kids. And my wife goes, are you mad at us or something? Now, I wasn't mad at my wife and kids, but I sure as heck was ticked off from my jerk of a coworker who threw me under the bus on that particular day. I was guilty of what I like to call emotional residue. That leftover emotional energy from work that clings to you like sweat after a good workout. And that energy walks through your front door before words ever do. I'm going to share some science around this in a minute, but this is why I love what Proverbs 15:13 says. It says, a happy heart makes the face cheerful, but heartache crushes the spirit. Whether you realize it or not, what's going on in your heart, your emotions, your stress, your fatigue, it shows up on your face and in your presence. It either breathes life into your home or deflates it, which is why today's drill is so important. Here's the deal. Your emotional state, whether it's calm, frustrated, anxious, exhausted, it's contagious. The neuroscience proves this. There's a concept called emotional contagion. And it's studied extensively by researchers like Dr. Elaine Hatfield, a psychologist at the University of Hawaii. She found that people tend to automatically mimic the emotional expressions and tone and posture and energy of those around them. And crazy, it's often within milliseconds. This isn't conscious, it's subconscious. It's a subconscious biological response. And Dr. Hatfield dropped a quote about this that I absolutely love. She said, people catch feelings from one another just like they catch colds. Now, combine that with our mirror neurons. These neurons fire both when we act and when we observe others acting. Meaning, if you walk into a room tense, your spouse and your kids, they don't just notice it, they feel it. Their brains are wired to mirror your emotional and physiological and really psychological state. If you're a leader listening right now, which you are, you wouldn't be listening to the show if you weren't, it's even more relevant for us leaders. So there was this study done in the journal Psychological Science, and it showed that a leader's emotional state directly influences the mood, the performance, and the stress levels of their team. Whether it's, again, when I say team, it's the workplace team, your family. So yeah, hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down here. Your nervous system is broadcasting to your people before your mouth even opens. So here's the 5-minute drill I want to encourage you to do. I call it the double S strategy. Now, I'm laughing because my clients are always giving me a hard time because I name everything. I name everything. So I have the AAA, which stands for Acknowledge, Admit, and Action. I have the GPS squared framework. What can I say? I've always found it easier to remember things when they're named. So here we go with this double S strategy. The two S's stand for signal and shift. Now, quick sidebar here. I'm huge on transitions. If you've been listening to my show, if you're a client, you know that this is the foundation of my work in human performance. Huge on traditions, especially that transition from work to home. I've even created a transition mastery journal for these type of transitions. And by the way, if you want a copy of that, just go to the resources section of my website on jamesreed.com. Just go click resources and you can download it there. But the drill I'm sharing today is really that go-to strategy in a pinch. If you're like me, you like to have options. I mean, I'll be honest with this is my go-to option when I don't have 5 minutes to go through my transition mastery journal. But I'm feeling wiped, and I know I need to intentionally transition before I go deflate the next room I enter into. So, step 1, right before you walk into your home or as you're pulling in the driveway, ask yourself, what emotional signal am I broadcasting or giving off right now? If you want to drive this home even more, another way to ask, if my spouse or kids were to absorb my current feelings and thoughts, what would they feel? Look, I'm encouraging you here, be very honest with yourself. Would they be tired? Would they be tense? Would they be checked out? But that's the first S, signal. What signal are you giving off? Then step 2. The other S here is shift. This starts your shift. So take 3 slow breaths with longer exhales. When we exhale slower and longer than our inhales, this is leveraging our breath to calm down your nervous system and mind. But it doesn't stop at the breath. We got to anchor you to a positive performance phrase, like something like, it's time to lead at home now, or, my presence at home, it's a gift. I'm choosing to give this gift to my wife or spouse or kids or my friend. And really in the final step here, we're going to leverage our body again. This time we're going to smile. So even if it's a forced smile, we're going to smile. Open up your posture, get rid of the slouched shoulders, and smile. So science proves that your body can shift your brain. It's a principle called embodied cognition. Amy Cuddy, I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's a Harvard psychologist, did a lot of study on this, and she and her colleagues found that even holding certain power poses for just 2 minutes can increase confidence and lower your levels of the stress hormone we call cortisol. And what happens when that happens? Well, it just helps you feel more present and in control. Exactly what we want, especially when we're around the people that matter most to us and after a long day at work. Your body can change your mind, and your mind can change your behavior. Isn't that what we're after here? So that's the drill. Now, as you could see, we're not just managing emotions here. We're leveraging science, and we're aligned with scripture to completely shift how you show up. And yes, it could be done in under 5 minutes. Too many people are showing up at home. And again, I was this person. But too many people are showing up at home and simply showing up anywhere, going, I'm tired. Man, I'm so tired. I know I'm going to see these, such and such or whoever, and they're just going to have to get over it because I got nothing else to give. I've been there. But you know what? You know the truth now. What we need to be saying, and this is the perspective shift here, what we need to be saying is, you know what? My energy leads the room. Whatever energy I bring into the room or the house or wherever, those people in that room or in that house, they're going to mirror me. Because now you know the science. So if I were to wrap this up in a simple do's and don'ts list, I'll say first, do check your emotional signals before walking in whatever door you're about to walk into. Don't assume your silence hides your stress. It just doesn't. And then I'm going to tell you, do take responsibility. Take some ownership for your presence. And what I'm going to encourage you is don't defend your exhaustion. It's time to redirect it, especially in those hard days. So just to recap this week's drill, just 3 steps. First step, ask yourself, what emotional signal am I broadcasting? Then the second step, take 3 breaths with a longer exhale and anchor them to an intentional positive performance phrase. And then third step, smile. Stand tall. Be the thermostat, not the thermometer. Earlier I mentioned my wife's comment to me, asking me if I was annoyed with her and my kids. When I started doing this drill more consistently, it changed how I showed up around them, especially after these tough, long days at work. I mean, I have some tough, long days. I'm getting in the trenches and just getting access to a lot of people's stuff. And these are elite people that have a lot of stuff going on. But after I started applying this drill, my wife's tone changed around me. My kids came to me with excitement instead of walking on eggshells, which pretty much they were walking on eggshells every time it was close to closing time for me. This isn't, and again, if you're thinking, oh, well, JR, this is kind of faking it. This isn't about faking it. It's about leading with the positive energy you have inside of you. It's there. Even when you feel exhausted, it's still there. Now, to get you momentum with this drill, my encouragement to you is this. Right after this episode, just take 30 to 60 seconds. Obviously, if you're driving, wait until you're stopped. and maybe the car's off, you're not at a red light, but take 30 to 60 seconds to visualize yourself executing this drill. Visualization is one of the key strategies that my private pro and executive athletes clients do daily. I have them do daily. It primes your nervous system and helps you improve your follow through with the drill. Okay. And just keep it simple. Here's how you can do it. Just close your eyes, slow down your breathing, and then see yourself pulling in the driveway. See yourself walking through a signal check. See yourself taking that deep breath and smiling with intention. And then walking in, ready to lead with love and strength. I mean, that's it. Just keep it simple, but lock this in. See it, feel it, own it. Lock this in. And again, like I mentioned before today's episode, if you're a guy who's looking to come up clutch more often for your family, for your team, then head on over to theclutchclub.com and check out what I have for you. Trust me, again, you won't regret it. Until then, don't forget, winning isn't a result, it's a lifestyle. So keep pursuing that life of champions.
This episode is over. Get more No BS content to help you master your mind, body, and relationships by hitting subscribe. This is Coming Up Clutch with JR. Thanks for listening.